Hello and welcome to another tutorial from ViewZen Labs on the Analytics platform. Today, we'll explore the button component. The button can be used to trigger certain actions on the dashboard, such as navigating to another sheet of the dashboard. They establish connections, facilitating seamless interaction within the analytics dashboards. Now let's learn how to create a button. To create a button, first switch to Designer mode from the Mode switch drop-down at the top right corner. After that, go to the ribbon at the top of the canvas, select the button icon, and then click the location in the canvas where we want to place the button. If there are no elements in the canvas, then the button will get placed on the topmost left corner of the canvas. Let's dig deeper into the button configuration. When we hover the cursor over the button, we will see the edit and delete icons. We can delete the button by clicking on the delete icon. But while doing so, we should note that deletion cannot be reversed. If we want to access the properties pane of the button, we need to click on the edit icon. The properties pane always opens on the right-hand side, on top of the canvas. The properties pane of the button will allow us to design the appearance, create or change the button label, and position the button. Another way to access the properties pane is to click on the pen icon in the ribbon after selecting the button. Let us now look at the property configuration one by one. Under Button Properties, there are two tabs: the Format tab and the Tooltips tab. We will first delve into the various functionalities under the Format tab. To begin with, we will go to the Label configuration. Label here is synonymous to the button's display name. In the Label configuration, we can enter the label that we want to display on the button. The Formatting tool on the top of the Label pane contains the label formatting options. We can format the label in ways similar to what we do on MS Word. To change the formatting of the label, we have to just select the label and then choose the font style, font size, text color, text background, and alignment. Further, we can even format each letter or word of a button label. At times, we might want to use the same label or background color on multiple buttons. To achieve that, we can copy the hex code from the color box of the source label and paste it into the hex fields of all the destination labels. In the general settings, we can adjust the position and size of a button. By specifying values for X and Y, we determine where on the screen the button will be placed, and by entering values for width and height, we control how big or small the button appears. The Component Link feature allows us to effortlessly incorporate the button into any portal or application. This means that the link serves as an API that can be seamlessly integrated into various portals, enabling them to call up the chart and display it within the portal interface. In appearance, we can add shadow, border to the button, and change the background color, which by default is in blue color. For choosing the background color, click on the color box and then choose the required color either by selecting from the color palette or by entering the RGBA or HSLA or hex color codes. If we wish to use the same color in another button that we have created, we can copy the hex code of the source button and paste it into the hex code field in the respective destination button. The primary text color for the button label in ViewZen Analytics is white. However, we can choose alternative text color as well. When an alternative primary color is selected, the button label will appear in that color. Using padding, we can control the space that is to be left between the content and the border of the button. Additionally, we can also add shadows to the button by specifying the offset values, blur radius, and color. Likewise, we can specify the width, style, color, and radius of the border of the button. A button can be used to provide interactivity on the dashboard. For example, we can navigate from one page sheet of the dashboard to another page sheet of the dashboard by clicking on a given button. A button is activated by a user action such as a click with a keyboard or mouse. In this section of the video, we will learn to configure user-initiated events on the button component that can set off certain actions. To make a button clickable and perform actions, click on Action and Events. In ViewZen Analytics, any dashboard visual component can be configured to perform actions based on two different types of events. Events originating from the same, this visual. In this case, different types of user-initiated events can be configured on the same visual component, and each such event can set off a certain action. For example, a user can click a bar chart which can set off a drill-down action on the bar chart. Events originating from some other visual. In this case, this visual can set off a certain action even if the user initiates an event on a different visual component. For example, we may want to filter the first chart also when the user clicks a bar of a second bar chart. For a button, only the first type of event, that is events originating from the same, this visual, is applicable, and therefore only this type of event configuration is allowed. Currently, only the click event can be configured for a button. 3 properties need to be configured for the click event on a button, which are described in detail below. Scope specifies the realm of this event. The scope or realm of an event can be component, sheet, or dashboard. Scope helps us to limit or control the visual components that can act based on this event. Basically, it designates which all visual components can respond to this event with some action. Remember, we had mentioned that a visual can also respond to events originating from other components. If the scope of the event is component, then only this visual component will respond to the event. If the scope of the event is sheet, then all visual components can respond to this event provided they have an associated action to perform. If the scope of the event is dashboard, then all visual components in this dashboard can respond to this event, provided they have an associated action to perform action. Action is used to capture what the visual component is expected to do upon occurrence of the user-initiated event. Actions such as navigate to, freeze, drill down, filter, etc. can be set up depending upon the visual component. In the case of a button, only one action, navigate to, is currently allowed. Sheet. This property is applicable only when the action is navigate to. Navigate to action needs a destination, that is where the interaction has to be directed. The page, sheet, of the dashboard where the user has to be directed can be selected the list of the sheets that are already created for this dashboard. Tooltips are used to give extra explanations or instructions. Tooltips can be activated under the Tooltips tab of the Properties window. Once activated, the tooltip will appear on hover over the visual component. We can enter or modify the tooltip text in the Rich Text Editor. Both tooltip and tooltip text can be formatted. The tooltip text can be formatted in various different ways. For example, we can choose a font style and font size. We can give the text or its background a color. We can align the text. We can emphasize the text, bold, italics, or underline. We can strike through a word or sentence, and we can use a word or sentence as superscript or subscript. We can use the properties below the Rich Text area to format the tooltip. Tooltip formatting options help us to position the tooltip, put a border and style the border, add padding or shadow. After configuring the label, appearance settings for the button, the general settings, and defining action and events, it's crucial to save these changes in the Properties pane. This ensures that the configured properties are applied and persist across sessions. Saving the changes typically involves clicking on the Save button within the Properties pane. Once saved, the settings get applied. Then, if we edit the button again, the newly applied settings will appear in the Properties pane. If we close the Properties pane without saving the changes, The unsaved changes will still be available until either the changes are applied, save changes, or discarded, cancel changes. This final step completes the setup and configuration of the button component.